What's the feeling? Or unsa may feeling ka ng daghan kay medal?
One of my greatest strength na feel na ako na I was never pressured. Wala akong naka-feel of pressure sa home parents. One thing my mom said that I could never forget is that no matter what, kung di man ka ma-valedictorian or di man ka mag-graduate on top, I know for myself that you are smart.
Have you ever fall in love? Or what made you decide? Paano ka niya na pa oo baga?
I don't remember, but I already asked you before about it, but you don't tell me the truth. But I know the truth already.
Sa makausa may buntag Diocese of Marbel ug ganian usab kita sa atong programa karong buntaga Love JL no sa atong ugnayan ng bayan at simbahan kauban gihapon si Kuya Jhon Lloyd C Manggay ug karong buntaga kauban gihapon uban gihapon kini sa ato ang anniversary special no ug special gayud ang ato ang episode karong buntaga tungod kay kauban nako ang special usab nga tawo no very special in the sense nga mamahimo kini siyang dako siyang inspirasyon alang kanatong tanan ilabi na sa kabatan-unan nga nagapaminaw sa atong programa. Siya usa nako ka estudyante, actually he was my best student in my religion subject at Notre Dame of Glan Incorporated. Now I'm just one of the lucky people nga makaistorya siya, makahinabi mga kaigsuunan, diha siyang kinabuhi ug karon atong tukion ang iyahang eksperyensya isip usa ka working student no. Diha sa gawas sa nasod. Nasayod kitang tanan nga ang kinabuhi sa usa ka Filipino outside the country is difficult. How much more kaya kung ang usa ka batan-on nag-eskwela didto o nagatrabaho usab. So I think this will allow us to broaden our perspective and allow our hearts to be inspired by the story we are going to learn today. He is in the person of Mr. Bryant Wong from California, USA. Bryant, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kuya Lloyd. Hello everyone, my name is Bryant Wong and you can call me Kuya Bryant. And as of now, I'm here in California and I miss Glan so much.
Yes, we miss you too. And mga kaigsuunan, ma-feel yun nato, no? Bisag naga-Cebuano na si Bryant, ang accent, maka-nosebleed na ang accent. At least ma-feel ninyo ako na-feel sa una tong ako pa yung teacher sa religion sa Notre Dame. Anyways, magpadayon kita, no? Bri, I would like to start our discussion, no? With regards to your childhood, no? Kumusta ba ang imuhang kinabuhi? Asa ba ka nagdako? Or dira na ba mo dira? Yeah, I would say nga nakapuyo mo diri, but for how many years ba mo naalag diri sa Glan then eventually nag-transfer mo dira, or kamo anak sa inyong parents na diri then eventually nag-transfer dira because your parents are there? Would you mind to share it with us?
Oh, sige. It's my pleasure to do so. So, sa akong childhood, it's basically half and half manggod. Like I spent my childhood here in the US as well in the Philippines. Kay tong bata pa ako, my dad, akong papa, siya man tong nauna dito sa US, and basically when I was around 5 years old, I think, and that was the year 2012. Oh no, hold on. Let's see. Mga 7 or 8 years old na ko ato, and that was year 2012 when we moved here in the US. So I still got to experience my childhood in the Philippines, and what it was is that kawan akong mama kasi akong papa syempre na rin nag-work sa US, and most of the time I spent my time with my mom kaya akong papa na rin sa US. And then my dad decided to kuha na mi diri sa Philippines, and dito nag-start akong journey na magstay diri sa US. So diri sad ko nag-eskwela. Bali, I went to school in the Philippines from kindergarten to first grade only. So nag-transfer ko there around second grade, and it was different. It was new. Syempre, di ba, coming to this different place where pagsalta mo di wala kay knowledge. Wala, di ka kabalo mag-English. So everything was new to me, and
Pwede ka pala mag-English, sure?
wala pa. And then one of my funniest experience is that actually nag-adto ko sa eskwelahan bisag walay klase kasi syempre wala ako kasabot. Nag-announce ito akong teacher na wala day klase the next day. So ako wala ako kasabot sa mga istinuryahan dere syempre kay English bago pa. Nato ko sa eskwelahan, and mo to one of the struggles I've experienced is that transitioning here jud og ganang pag pagka pagkasabot sa silang language, which is English. It was difficult, pero as time goes, time progress man, you'll be you'll be able to understand jud silang mga sinuryahan, or mag-cope up ka silang mga ways. So mo to I spent here from second grade to sixth grade. Nag-graduate ko diri elementary, and then we decided to go home again, and that's where I started my journey in high school, which is I went to Notre Dame of Glan from 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th, and 10th, and then that's where my that's one of the most memorable days I've experienced, especially in high school, because I met a lot of great people, mga friends. I've met a lot of good teachers, and especially you, sir, di ba? In my sa 10th, sa akong last year sa Notre Dame of Glan, I've met a wonderful teacher who was able to teach us great values in religion, and yun ta.
Na-move ko. Over mo kay kong reaction na si Bri, how would you define your stay here or your experience here in the Philippines, particularly here in Glan?
Particularly, I say that kung papiliin ko, I actually prefer my experience there in Glan rather than here in the US, because it's different when you're home. Diba? Kung nadyo kasi mong hometown place kay daghan kag taila, daghan kag mga close relatives. Although na ako yung mga relatives diri, pero lahi jud ang feeling no kanang nag-grow up kasi sa ka place, because it's where your heart belongs. Although nag-grow up pug ko diri, but
Or napon ang mga tao diri nga kuan. Dool jud sa imong kuan.
ako ang kasing-kasing. Tapos, although nag-grow up ko diri sa US, pero I'd say na my heart is much closer to Glan jud. Kay that's where I met a lot of great people. My friends, my family are there, and of course, I have great teachers that as well.
Bri, I'm just curious now because this is a common story about you in Notre Dame of Glan, and I would just like to ask you this personally, o siguro not to at least give idea to our listeners unsa ang experience nimo tong first nimo tunog sa Notre Dame, because there are a lot of stories. Maybe what's the feeling of that very moment na murag ikaw ang campus crush, ikaw ang center of attraction, kanang murag sa imuha tanan nakakita kay the white handsome guy inside the campus, tapos ang accent kay kanang makadugo og ilong. What was the feeling back then?
Oh, so it was like first year out of 7th grade, diba? And it was my first it was a time also na decide me na mag-go back to the Philippines. So I was nervous kasi diba? Yung environment again, and then you have to adjust. So syempre nakulbaan ko, and it was just crazy kasi pag first day, pag-abot pa lang ako sa first day of school, pag-abot na ako sa classroom, like everyone, daghan kig mga taon, tapos nag-swarm sila tanan sa kanang room, tapos na-overwhelmed ko like marag at the same time na kayon ko kung na feeling pag bigli mo na ani di ay ni na maging murag
Celebrity?
na feeling mo ba naka-glimpse na experience na yan di kung mga celebrity ka ba or sikat kay sure ang mga students ato like ang room gud kay compacted na high pa syempre daghan kay students and then at the same time daghan kay tao sa gawas sa kanang mga sa window na naga-stairs sa imo so syempre na-overwhelm po kaya at the same time nahulbaan sad ko kasi syempre
Ano to naka-impact sa imong stay sa Notre Dame, Bri? Like, kanang, curious lang ko no nga, usually manggod, it's something na naisip jud sa ato ang makaigsuunan ba nga murag sa salida nga kanang ingana maka-gain good og too much attention, it's either it will make you more good or it will make you murag sa term pa sa ato sa Binisaya hilas, which is which, or how did it impact your life in you stay in Notre Dame?
siguro sa mga attention sa mga tao. Well, at first you'd like it, diba? Pero at the same time, nakaingon ko na it's much better na wala. Kasi sa, murag mag-build up mo siya pressure sa imuha. Because people have eyes on you. Nagatanaw sila sa imuha, which ang mga expectations sa mga tao. So, maka-pressure ko siya at the same time. But I'd say na it did make an impact on me, especially na pressure ko sa mga expectations sa mga tao sa ako. Pero what made me stay in Notre Dame is that I was actually planning to transfer to a different school, which is
Yeah. Grand School of Arts and Trades, which I'm teaching right now.
Yeah, and then also I decided na what made me stay was that my friends and then the people around me in Notre Dame of Glan, especially how they were able to teach great value sa mga students, and at the same time I've already made friends in Notre Dame of Glan. So I was that's when I made a decision that it's worth to stay in this school, because if I stay in this school, I know for myself I will be molded into a great student and a competitive one.
Speaking of that, Brian, being a great student, a competitive one, yeah, I saw that in you when I was your teacher back then. Prior to that, ingana na ba jud ka as a person that you want this, you want to excel in everything, because as what I saw in you, you excelled in everything. I must say, and what's good thing about you is that you stayed grounded during that time. Na you never showed to me, kasi personally I have this kanang personality pud nga kanang I want everyone to be equal inside the classroom, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you are, where you came from. And I kept on telling you that before, kasi kay di ba sa Notre Dame, kasi klase all walks of life. We have the elite, the elite people in Glan. Maybe you are one of those. So and I saw that in you, that you stayed grounded. Now, prior to that, ingana na ba jud ka, or murag plan na gyud sa imo, or were you that intelligent already?
I say na first of all sa pag-abot na ako diri grade 7, I was
Do you consider yourself intelligent even today?
I guess tama-tama lang na
Tama-tama pa na mga scholarship dira sa US, no?
kasi tama-tama lang sir, pero back when pag grade 7 na ako, I was totally a complete different person. No, I wasn't the type of student na naga-excel, nagapaningkamot jud. Kasi sa una pag grade 7 ako, pag-abot na ako, wala kay ko na kalibutan about school. Sometimes gani mag-absent pa ko. Kayo kapon mo sulod oy, tapos wala jud ko ka-study, no all of that. Wala na ako gina-pressure akong self na to do good in academics. But siguro it started when I was
the eventual moment why you decided to
siguro first of all na nakayon ko na siguro nindot puguro no maging honor student, kasi every semester every magud di ba na may first grading makita niyo imong mga advocation na nagasahos sa stage, and then they're also excited to hear the announcement of the honor students. So I was like nakayon sa murag nindot mo siguro no na mag-try na to push yourself to be on top. So that's when I started on 8th grade. Monto kong first time na nakasako sa ako stage as an honor student, and it was shocking because shocking siya sa tanan kasi they never expected it from me. Kay wala ko gapangin kamato since grade 7, and then pag grade 8, first convocation, I was as first convocation,
Occasion.
ano ko na, third honor ko. So
Wow.
imagine that big jump. So from being that student na wala ka pa rin kamot, then from being to top 3. So mo to, it's a shocking experience. And then
From the bottom to top.
from the bottom to top. And then ano mo to, nag-push sa huan na to continue it, not just for anybody but for myself. And
Yeah.
one of the greatest things is that my parents never pressured me. Wala ako ka-feel of pressure na, uy, dapat ma-honor ka, dapat ma-top jug ka, like, you have to be this and that. And that was also one of the main, one of my greatest strength na feel na ako na I was never pressured. Wala ako naka-feel of pressure sa home parents.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brino. Maybe it is understandable why you were like that sa grade 7 pa lang ka. Of course, maybe I could say that transition period pa to nimo nga time to know the environment, time to test the waters kung baga. And that's a good thing that you realize na nakikita po na ako karon ba dako po jud impact no ang kaning mga convocations, kaning awarding ang mga awards, because it motivates students, it motivates children to do more, to be more. Yeah, I experienced that before, but me ba being a teacher right now in my teaching perspective, it's fulfilling on our part na this is one of the factors that motivates our students to do more and to be more that they could bring, of course, to their journey in life. Now, Brian, when you graduated grade 10, I was there, and looking at you, daghan kay medals, no, daghan kay awards. I would just like to ask, this is also to kwan ba, to at least maghatag taog nawong sa ato ang mga kabatan-unan nga viewers who are also trying their best to be on top. What's the feeling? Or unsa may feeling kanang daghan kay medal na kanang kuan na isabit sa imuha inig graduation or inig kanang unsa ba kanang inig recognition?
Actually, sir, katong pag-graduation, it was like a moment of relief for me knowing that ako ang dream or ako ang goal na maging class valedictorian na achieve na ako. Kasi when I was first day of school, I've said to myself, ningon ko na I will graduate on top. I will graduate on top no matter what. And I set to my mind to it, and then I did everything that I could. And then I've also experienced a lot of struggles, self-doubt now whether my worth for this position or whether kaya na ako, because I have a lot of competitive classmates. Na ako yung mga like LJ and Jenny, those
Jenny,
two, silang duha sila.
kamo mo jud tulo, di ba? Magsumpaki permi.
Sir, since grade 8. Tapos naingon ko sir na sila dyan ang pinaka mga type of student na they're also competitive and really smart, which
Paano nimo to na-overcome, Bri? Knowing na you have, because I know also the capacity of the LJ, di po jud siya basta-basta. Much more Jenny nga kanang silent pero kuyaw pud kaayo. Paano nimo na-overcome kato nga mga doubts and anxieties within you?
Siguro sir, I think it's normal na medyo maabot na sa part sa tong life where we doubt ourselves, di ba? Makaingon ta whether deserve na to or worth for this, ano ba dyan taan. Siguro sir, ang nakaingon, ang na-overcome ako na that part sir is through the support of my family, because one thing my mom said that I could never forget is that no matter what, kung di man ka ma-valedictorian or di man ka mag-graduate on top, I know for myself that you are smart. So motong nakatatak sa akong heart sir na no matter what na kung dili man ako mag-graduate on top, my family knows that I am smart and I'm worth for this position. So
Wow.
moto sir ang isa sa akong nag-push na to become better, to do better, which eventually I was able to achieve my dream. Kasi sir, final week of graduation at
Yeah.
nag-rehearsal na, that was the time where I really had self-doubt on myself kasi parang ko makagraduate ka ako sa akong ano, whether I will graduate on top, and then nagsagol-sagol na ba ang mga self-doubt sa imuha, and then what kept me pushing was that the support of my family. Moto na pag-announce sa awardings, and I was so shocked because I did not expect that I was able to receive all of the medal, almost all of the medals,
Yeah.
and bargain all of the best.
And you deserve all those.
Thank you, sir. So mo to, sir, pag hatag sa medal sa ano, I was crying. I was crying because I felt the relief na I was able to achieve my dream or my goal, which is to become on top, to graduate as class valedictorian. And one thing I could give humahatag na lesson sa mga kabataan is that if you aim for something, never doubt yourself, just keep pushing and continue, because your perseverance will bring you to success. Don't give up. Don't give up, Jud. That is one of the reasons why I graduated on time, because wala jud ko nag-give up. Even though that Jenny and LG are so smart, I was able to
Yes.
overcome and pass through them.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brian. That was a moving message from you. And nasayod ako no nga atong mga kabatanunan hinaot nga adunay ibutang jud silang kasing-kasing kung katong imong sharing. You know, mga kaigsuunan, mga kabatanunan, Brian is really a smart guy, a talented one, and a good person. I would say one good thing kasi yun katong gipili na namo tong dati sa kuha lang sa ako ang subject, which is religion. Aside from academic factor, intellectual factor, pinaka criteria gid nako ato is the character and how you were transformed throughout the school year. And I was just amazed man good ato, Bri, with the how you express yourself, but knowing the fact na kanang murag dili ko kasanay sa mga butang na willing ka mulang paso, willing ka kanang murag ana gud nga mga moments, and those were the days now. But I would just like to move on to another discussion no, to take this lightly before ta mag-embark sa kanang mga struggling ni mga moments. Have you ever fall in love?
Of course, sir, through high school, sa akong high school life, I've met two different people. One of them was my classmate or friend, and
Yeah.
that was the first time that I've fallen in love. And the second time was when I was around senior high school, pag saka na ako sa grade 11.
Asa
Uh,
ka nag in grade 11?
Nag-grade 11 ko sa NDDU or Notre Dame of the Youngest University, and that's where the second time I've met the person. So mo ko, sir, pag first time was at grade 10, grade dili like
Kailan ba ko ato? Kailan ba ko ato?
sir, and it started
Sige.
from grade 7 as a crush, and then it proceeded on as hantod pa grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10. And mo to, sir, syempre that was also one of the inspirations sa part of my high school life.
You know, why I asked this question ba? Para mahibalaan po sa itong mga kaigsuunan dira sa kanginan nga kanang dili mo good necessary nga dili kanang wag naagoy kulang sa imong teenage life para maging achiever ka. Just like you, you are an achiever, you achieve so much, but you did not forget nga nabugay inspirations, may engage mo ka na basta as long as you know your limitations. Now, gusto na ko i-ask, when was the time nga murag tudyog ka murag natamaan or makaingon siya Mr. Copido?
Siguro, sir, pag grade 11, and that was the second time. That was the second time that it really went through, and it was also one of the best times that I've got to experience, kasi syempre at the same time you're in high school, and then it was a new environment for me sa Jensen, and then you just have someone to have with to spend time with. So it was a wonderful experience because
Pila mo
um
ka months or years?
14 months, sir.
14 months, 1 year and 2 months.
Mm.
Um, why? What happened?
Siguro, sir, mga personal things na
Mm-mm.
um long distance relationship mango. So I'd say it's hard that to really work out. So mo to sir, it ended at that 14 months.
Kinsa ang hinungdan? Parang, what was the reason nga
Uh,
imong tanaw? Aside from, I mean, it's a wrong question. Kinsa tanaw nimo ang kanang nagkulang? Kasi even if we say long distance relationship is the reason, there is always someone in that relationship that is holding on. Sino ba yung bumitaw kung baga?
hmm. Siguro sir, it was like dugay na manggod. So I'd say that
Ah,
the other person or so got fed up na magikapuyan na good. So it's hard manggod when it comes to long distance relationship.
yeah.
Like siya when you guys are close together. So I wouldn't say that one person or the other was at fault. I'd say that two of them, siguro,
Two of
duhami,
them?
yeah,
Two of you? Okay, okay.
two of us was at fault na nga nung it ended that way. Siyempre, najud na in a relationship na medyo yung mga mishaps, mga pagkakamali. And one of the things that I've learned is that in a relationship,
What,
uh,
what do you think is your mistake? Let's just talk about you. Are you also willing to admit, you said na naman dyan tayo pagkakamali. What do you think is your pagkakamali?
I think it's the tasking pride, sir, in a relationship. And I think that's one of the factor also that brought destruction in our relationship. Kaya pagka-task of pride kay, dili ka mo admit sa imong pagkamali. So, that was one factor or pagkakamali na ako being prideful kaayo, dili mo amin siyang pagkamali. And the lack of communication. So, syempre, kung mag-aaway ni, di na ako tingugan. And that was one main problem, diba? Because when it comes to relationship, one thing I've learned is that communication is always important. Dapat mag-communicate mo kung sa inyong
Especially kung long distance relationship and kung unsa man jay problema, di ba? Istoryahan jud na siya. Mura gud na sa mag-asawa ingon sila, di ba? Dili jud dapat daw pahumano ng adlaw nga dili mo magka-istorya with regards to your problems. I would like to ask, was that really a heartbreak on your part? Were you really affected sa kato nga sitwasyon? Nga nahitabo sa imong kinabuhi as a teenager, as someone who fell in love that much?
Oh, sir, it affected me because syempre it's your first time, di ba? It's your basically first time that you've actually gotten yourself in a real relationship. And moto, sir, it affected me badly because wala man ko na-expect na ingani di ay ang feeling na when it comes to loving musulod ka sa relationship. And then syempre dugay good 14 months which you've been
Yeah.
together for a lot, so there's attachment. The attachment mo na attachment sir na murag you're so murag sanay na gud kaay ka na
So,
nasa
naa siya permi.
nasa per me. And then that was the
You don't
hardest
care.
part of letting go na knowing that that person wala na siya sa imuhang life.
Ikaw ang nakigbulag, Bri.
Oh sir,
Why?
I think it's best nakaingon ko na it's best if I do it kasi kung siya murag siya dili siya ka take the action di niya kaya himon ba. So I took the initiation na makipagbulag sa iya.
Bri, in your relationship, what do you think is that one good thing that happened?
I think one good thing that happened is that you were able to meet the person which gave you a lot of lessons in life. And one thing I've learned is that siguro, although he wasn't permanent in life, but one thing for sure is that he made me realize how to love. And he gave me a lesson such as not being too prideful, di ba? And also to communicate in your relationship, because if you don't, syempre, wala yung relationship na mag-work out if you don't know how to learn to communicate and lower your pride. Kasi sometimes, although that person may love you, but sometimes they don't have the capacity to do that forever. Kaya ang tao manggod, makapuyan manggod, and you have the ability to adjust that um by not being prideful and learning to communicate to your partner.
What do you think is the most difficult thing that you did for that person?
Siguro, I'd say na although that in that relationship, sometimes one would um I'd say that he was selfish, but I was able to stay in that relationship even though that sometimes he's selfish. And I've 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 come to the point na sometimes I'd even beg for that person to stay, even though that he's not deserving or worth of my loving. Kasi
Did you regret begging that person?
I'd say, sir, na I did at some point, but what I did not regret is that loving that person.
Ay. Lahi ra jud. Um, Thank you so much, Brian. No, it's you know sometimes we think that teenage relationship or that kind of relationship is a superficial thing. Murag superficial siya, murag taphaw ra para sa tuwa. But when you are already there, it gives an impact in our lives. It allows us to realize many things, especially in how we perceive love, in the context of having a partner in life, in the context of why we are moving forward and finding someone who will love us unconditionally and kanang naa dira sa imuha despite of your limitations, despite of your weaknesses, and of course we will be praying na someday you can find that also that person who will love you that much. And of course we too no kinahanglan pud nato mag-adjust kung kita pud na ay mga um, kanang pagkukulang, because in a relationship is always a two-way manner. Dapat kanang dili lang isa ang nagapaningkamot kun dili duha, and at least you've experienced that, you experienced the pain, you experienced the joy. That is what matters, because without pain you will never distinguish what does joy means, no, and how it feels of being comforted, and how it feels na kanang ing anak dai nimo siya ka-love before mo nang ing anak pud kasakit, no. Nihilak ba ka? Nihilakan ba nimo tong tawhan na to? The Mr. Bryant Wong ha, gihilakan to. Was that person an achiever, or kanang murag pari-pariha pud jud sa imuha, o kanang mga kanang murag kumbaga desires, mantra, or personality?
Oh, sir, that person was a big achiever, a political science student, and that person was also an officer in a big school, namely Ateneo. And
Yeah.
that person,
I see. I murag kailan ako.
sir, that person was also
Ah,
that person also participated in debates. He's in a debate varsity.
tama, nakita na ko ata sa once sa isa ka page sa Ateneo, because I am taking my masters in Ateneo at this time. So tama, naka-mention ba ka to sa kwa? Wala, no? Pero anyways, dili na ta magkuan na basta before dito mag-embark sa next discussion, Brian, what can you suggest to our young people na into a relationship or planning to be in a relationship?
Siguro, sir, my advice is that don't rush yourself to experience it or to be in a relationship, and Kasi one of the things that I've noticed this past few years is that teenagers nowadays marag rush good sila na dapat na nakoy uyab na nakoy someone na dili ko maka live kung wala koy uyab or dili ko maka marag ana good sir, and then nakaingon ko na marag lahi na good ang mga teenagers karon, and then one thing ako my advice is that don't rush yourself to be in a relationship, because one thing for sure is that if na may maabot jud na para sa imuha. So there's no need to rush, because someday or later what na jud maabot na para sa imuha. And humay ko lang just is don't rush, because sometimes if kung mag-rush siya kung mag-rush ta sa isa ka bagay, we never know that it might be a mistake or so.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brian. Now, I would like to embark to the discussion about your experience as a Filipino working student there. What unang-una next naka-experience, the issue, it's a prevalent issue right now, the Asian hate in the US. First question, naka-experience mo ba ka og kanang murag racism dira, hate speech, or unsa bang way that you felt insulted or hurt as person?
When it comes to racism sir, siguro I'd say that I'm lucky enough na wala ako ka-experience og mga ana, cause these past few years or past few days recently, makita nato no na ang racism dito sa US, especially in some places like for example sa New York City, rampant kayo ang racism towards Asians, where makita nato some of them are got into accidents kay gipang bugbog or something like that, diba? Which is scary as a Filipino worker here in the US. Pero thankfully no na wala ko ka-experience ana diri, because the environment I've been working on is also friendly. My first job was I work in a grocery store, and ako mga katrabaho was Mexican. So they were friendly and they treated me as one, like their own. So I was thankful. And as my second job now, I work as a caregiver and I work around Filipino workers, so and African Americans. So I was able to,
Relate ra gyapon.
so we understood each other, and I never got to experience wala ko ka-experience ng mga type of hate speech or racism, which is I'm thankful for.
Thank you so much, and we thank God for that, no. Bri, I've seen your post. Nakita na ko yung mga post. You have scholarships from universities, if I'm not mistaken, universities there in the US. You are studying, you are working. Paano nimo siya na-handle? Or would you mind to tell us how did you handle these things that happens in your life as of today?
Siguro when the thought of working and being a student at the same time, people would say that, diba, lisod na murag, lisod siya buhaton at the same time. Pero I'd say na siguro kayo sad ko na working at the same time, being a student and working at the same time, lisod siya sa una. But then once you experience it, once you're in that situation, makaingon ka na okay raman di ay, because somehow your mind will find a way, mangita kag paraan good para mag-cope up sa kanang. Kasi syempre, one of the lessons that I've learned as a working student and being a student and going to college at the same time is that kung nanakada sa situation, mag-adjust yun imuhang self na to comply. Kasi kung for example, if you have school works, kung dili ka, there's only two options, whether to do it or not to do it. Kasi kung if you procrastinate, kung mag-procrastinate ka, whether kung wala kung ibuhaton or dili, wala jud kay mahimo. So you have no
Guilty
you have
pagkapilala.
so wala jud kay choice, and that's the great thing about working. Kay kung mag-work ka, wala jud kay choice, whether you have two options, whether to complete your work or not to do it. Okay? as a working student, you have no choice but to do it kay you have other things to do. So mag-fit in na dyan siya sa imuhang schedule.
Right, makaingon mo ba ka, Bri, nga um, possible kaayo maging working student dira tungod sa setup or sa sistema sa inyong educational system and sa work nga kanang murag high paying jobs, considering na very lahi ang diri sa Philippines, gamay kay sweldo, wala kay opportunity. Can you also say about the differences of the two? Since you have lived here naman.
There's a great difference just sir between the two. Kasi there is a US mango. The difference is that for work and for school at the same time, mag-adjust na jud sila. Like for example, for my work, I have the opportunity to choose my own schedule, and at the same time sa college pin ako, I have the opportunity to choose the days that where I can go to school. Where with this, it's compatible. Naging compatible siya because I was able to work and I was able to choose the days where I work, and at the same time, I was able to choose the days to go in college. So, ang difference siguro sa systems between in the Philippines is that sa Philippines manggod murag lisod siya, di ba? Kaya not only that, there's small opportunity, especially sa mga trabaho, ang mga requirements, the amount of qualifications they ask for you. Like, dere, you could work as a cashier when you're a graduate student, but then sa Filipinas, they require some type of bachelor's degree, which is crazy, di ba? To think of it. So, mo sa opportunity pa lang daan na sa trabaho, isud sa Pilipinas kaysa dere sa US. And at the same time, sa school po, I think sa school, di ba, sa Philippines, that students don't have the choice. Kasi one thing I've differentiated between the two is that dito sa states is that marag chill lang good, marag dili kay nila gina-pressure mga students ba. They don't bombard their students with so much works. Unlike in the Philippines, ako naingon jud da base sa akong observations, especially sa akong mga classmates on my friends, is that they're so stressed right now with college kasi they're so bombarded with school works where they don't have the freedom or time to enjoy themselves. While diri ako naingon sa haya-haya siya diri kaysa sa Pilipinas in terms of the education system, because not only the school is willing to adjust for you, but at the same time na ay mga opportunities ginahatag sa imuha ang school. Like they give you scholarships, they also give you internships, mga opportunity good na that would enhance you as a student, and at the same time makaingon ka na lami mag-eskwela diri sa US.
Thank you so much, Bri. And maybe it's because first world country, and maybe daghan lang jud pag dapat tarungon sa sistema nato diri sa Philippines, and we hope nga someday somehow there will really be big changes in our educational system in the Philippines. Bri, before I go to another discussion, I would just like to ask you, unsa ba ang pinakalisod nga na experience nimo diha as someone who works while studying? Like for example, you said ganiha nga sa grocery, then nag-caregiver ka. Naka-experience mo ba kag very difficult moment while you are working? An experience maybe?
Siguro sir kato nag-work ko sa grocery store sir, kasi akong job ang ato is all around. I work as a bagger, ato sa mga aisle to put back things, and then I also work nag-work ko sa gawas, naga-push ko cart, and I think that was one of the difficult things that I've experienced. Kasi syempre naka-experience ko, nakaingon jud ko na ani jud ay mangwarta sa US, ingani jud ay mangita og kwarta. So moto lisod lang siya kay syempre you have to work outside for like 3 hours straight to push around ka. So, syempre di ba ka ng mga carts, you have to gather a lot of carts kay tapos bugat good siya. So that was probably one of the difficult things that I've experienced, which made me learn that ang kwarta dili sayon pangitaon. And I want to say the misconceptions of some of the Filipinos that probably in the Philippines na kung naka sa Amerika haya-haya na ka.
Hayahay na
It's
dayo.
not true because lisod jud diri sir labi nagmangita kag kwarta hay dili asayon dili lang ginapunit ang kwarta diri because you have to work hard for it. And mo ta kong na learn as one of the lessons I've learned as working as associates clerk in the grocery store na lisod jud pangitaw ng kwarta dili sayon.
Yes. Ug mauna unta no ang tan-awon sa itong mga kabatanunan to really work no og kanang to dream because it's not impossible for anyone to dream more. You just need to work hard just like mga kigsuunan sa kinabuhi sa atong guest karon. Bri, I would like to go to your relationship with your family, and with this discussion, if it's okay to you, you've shared to me when you tweeted that where during the moment that you uh, accepted maybe or you told your parents. I chatted you. I was of course the Filipino mentality in me, I was also in shock. So would you mind if it's okay to you kung ma-share nimo ba sa amua um, how did you find the courage to tell your parents that moment? Because why I am asking this, because this would tell of how what kind of family do you have, and um, how did you try to express yourself as who you really are?
So growing up I'd say that my family is that we're really close and we're able to I say that we're like ra jud mi sa typical family no na that we see from other people kasi namoy mga klase-klaseng mga pamilya, di ba? There's complete family, mga broken family, and then nasa yung mga families na they rarely communicate with each other. And there's families also na naga-communicate, di ba? So I'd say na the type of family I have is that we're really close, and in a way na we like to travel a lot. Nagastorya mi about sa among mga plans sa life. And I think that's one of the most important thing in a family is that um, yung relationship is that it's strong na storya mo about sa yung mga plans and then what you want to do in life, and at the same time you support each other. And that's what I'm thankful for of having the family, that type of family. And siguro um you know um I'd say na siguro sometimes some families don't have that type of relationship, 'di ba? And sometimes mga student mga kabataan they don't have that type of established relationship with the family. So, 'di ba, ang uban maulaw silang family na makipag-communicate or istorya ilahang mga problems, which I'd say na they shouldn't, because no matter what, family is family, you know. And siguro realizing that who I really was is that ano ko mama dali oh.
Yeah.
I'd say na it was difficult, diba? Because you'd never know whether your family would accept you or not. And one thing that I've realized is that no matter what, kung unsa man ang mahitabo, they only have two options, whether to accept you or not. And that was a time where I told them na yanin ko, yan ako, and I was crying and pouring my heart out, and I was scared whether my family would not accept me.
You don't remember, but I already asked you before about it, but you don't tell me the truth. But I know the truth already.
Mama knows best yun di ay. No?
Mm. So
Wala
what
pa
was
nimo
her?
wala pa nimo giingon bray kabalo na sila. Siya. Oh, how fulfilling was that moment for you as their son? Of course, murag i-take away sa nato ang imong pagka-achiever kay murag kanang bonus na kay na para sa ilaha or para sa imong ginapakita kay lamang gyud uban I will do this, I will do that for them to accept me. But na feel pud ba na nimo nga murag nadawat na kanila just because kanang you are an intelligent guy, you are an achiever, you are kanang butan, good, kanang hardworking, or yes, actually nakita na nako no nga kanang the way, but for you that moment, what did you realize and what was the feeling?
Siguro sir, it was a moment of relief. Kay murag wala na gud kay problema knowing that this heavy burden inside of you is that wala na, you don't have to think of it anymore. Kay your family accepts you. And I say na my family all around is that wala mo gusto talaga pressure someone. They're not that my parents are not the type of parents na ka-pressure silang anak na you have to
Anak.
be this and that. Siguro sir, nakaingon ko na wala may problema na there's no need for uh to raise the standards or you have to be this or that to be accepted because akong naingon siya sa family is family jud. They will accept you no matter what.
Nindot kayo no, nindot kaayo nga kanang example ba of a family nga kanang there's no pressure at all and who accepts you. um I'm just curious. Your mother said niya you just don't remember pero giask na kanya before. Why did you not answer when your mother asked you?
Oh, I actually answered that and I was certain na I was this and that, but then siguro it changed everything when I met that second person in my life.
That one who
Mm-mm.
made you brave.
Mm-mm.
No? So, can you say na because of that person, kanang you find the courage?
Uh,
Hi, ma'am. Good morning po. You find the courage.
let's see. Siguro
What
sir,
mapasalamatan pud ba ka niya until now, even though of what happened?
oh sure, siyempre, di ba? Kasi we spent a lot of time together and I'd say na that person was still part of their katong when I was in that moment katong nag-decide I was like in 50-50 whether am I ready or not, and I guess he was part
What
of
made
the,
you ready? Or what made you decide? Paano ka niya na pa oo, kumbaga?
actually sir, it wasn't him, it was partly nag-support lang siya ba, but then it was
Okay.
partly in me because I chose myself,
Mm.
and that I chose myself and that I said that it's time na ano to let go and be free, because one thing I've learned is that always choose yourself no matter what. No matter what people will say or kung sa man imong gina-doubt, it's always better to choose yourself kasi your happiness is always important. Kung asa ka malipay, dito ka. So, motong is what that was mainly one of the reasons why na I chose to come out in my to my family as bisexual. Kasi I was like sakit na mo sa feeling like knowing the fact na you're carrying this and then you have no one to tell, and then even though I had that person by my side na I still felt incomplete, like I wasn't free, I wasn't able to show the world that who I really want to be, that I want to be this and I want to be happy. And siguro na that person was a main factor who supported me because um on that very moment na katong when I came out to my family, I was on call with him and he was there to witness everything. He was there to witness the biggest decision that I've ever made in my life, which was coming out to my family, which was really gave me the strength to do so, because knowing the fact na bulag na mi ato, we're actually
Ah,
bulag na mi ato, but then he was still there to support me in my biggest decisions of my life, which nakaingon ko na I was ready, and that ready na ako magkama sa akong family no matter what happens, because that person who loved me throughout the way was there with me in my biggest decisions of my life.
what was your plan back then if ever, halimbawa, wala ka na dawat sa iyong family? Do you have that so-called plan B?
Wala man dyan na sa kanang type of plans yun. Wala ko kaisip ana, because
Because
somehow,
you are certain.
even though I was scared na that there's a possibility na I might not be accepted by my own family, but deep
But
down
you
inside me,
know,
I knew that they will accept me.
yeah, and
Nakaingon ko
that's the
sir
good
na,
thing.
because ma-feel magudi mo na sir no matter what, kasi
Uh,
you spent time together, and nakaingon ko na, although nahadlok ko, pero deep down inside my heart, I know that my family will accept me no matter what, and that in fact they will be happy for me.
thank you so much, Brian. Brian, have you ever experienced a crying moment of your life? Before we end this conversation, because um, wala na kay tay igong oras. You know, we can see that you have a perfect life, a perfect family. But have you ever experienced in your life where you cried because of this, where you cried because of why I'm experiencing this, why I have this?
Siguro sir, I did a lot of times, and one mainly was about my relationship, and nakaingon ko na how everything is perfect, and with that person we made plans together, and I was just crying na how it ended that way. Nakaingon ko na, Lord, everything seems perfect. I have a family that accepts me. I'm doing well in life. I have no problems. But how come na sa relationship nga ni diri pa something went wrong. And 'di ba, makaingon ka na thankful ka, everything's in good place, in good terms, that you're in a happy relationship, but how come na it ended this way? Murag nasayangan good ko na that relationship, that 14 months relationships of being together, where you've made plans with that person, na kay mga syempre na may plan ato na he was actually planning to get a um tourist visa to stay here in
Oh,
the US, and then we made plans together, and then moto that's one of the probably uh moment that I've cried, where I asked the Lord bakit this and that, how come it went this way. But then one thing that I've realized is that everything happens for a reason. Na yung mga plano sigad para sa ato, and maybe that person was not just for you, and maybe there is someone better that will come to your life. So moto, like that was one way for me na I guess, ni God sa ako na although everything can be perfectly be in place, but sometimes na yung mga moment na in life we experience hardships that were makaingon ta, why did this happen? But then again, God will be there to make us realize that everything happens for a reason.
yes, because that's one way of God telling us, you need me, my son, and you need my comfort, and I'm just here for you. And sila, it allows us to know that the loving embrace of our Father in heaven. Um, thank you so much, no. This is also a good thing ba nga may balaan sa itong mga kabatanunan, that there is no such perfect life. There is no such perfect um, personal um, kanang dreams or families or unsa pa dira, because there will always be hard times, difficult moments. But at the end of the day, as long as you are willing to stand up and you are willing to kanang to move forward, with your faith in God, everything will just be in place. Because, di ba, as cliche at they may say, um, the right people will always come. And those people who leave us or who abandon us are the reasons why we are going to find the right person for all of us. It's just like finding a job. You are rejected by from this job. It's because you are reserved for a better job. No, you are rejected from this opportunity because you deserve more opportunity, and that's a life lesson that all of us should always remember. Because in our journey, dili man gud ana ang kuan, dili parehas always. Maybe we could say that we are more privileged because we are gifted by God with I would say an average intelligence per se mo murag um intelligence just nga over um we just for example, let's make you as an example. You have good looks, you have intelligent brain, you have work right now, you have scholarships, you have a good family who loves you so much, who cares for you. So what are you gonna ask for? But at the end of the day, it's still not perfect because nadyo mga butang nga, ma-experience pa mo nga, kinala pa mo hilak no? Kaya mo, punto na ng luha ni mo pirmi. At maybe, if
Happy ra kaayo.
happy ra kaayo, nakakabalo nga happy ra, dili na ay fulfilled ang imong kinabuhi. So there are people in our society today that baliktad, murag mas daghan ang problema kesa sa um, nindot. But one thing is for sure, especially in this time of pandemic, muabot ra jud ang time nga masulbad ang tanan, ma-okay ang tanan, because God is always in control. Bri, to end this conversation, what do you think are your greatest lessons in life?
Siguro, sir, one of my greatest lessons in life is that always choose your happiness. Your happiness comes first no matter what. And that if you have dreams, you have plans in life, don't give up on them. And see to it that your dreams in life will always be there for you to work hard and to push yourself to become better. Because isa man guna sa mga factor that will mold you to become a better person in life. And that is one of the things that I've experienced myself, and also a lesson that I've learned, that in life, if you have dreams, reach for them, because those dreams will keep you going.
Thank you so much, Bri. Bri, you can see that you have a very good parents, you have a sibling. First your mother, because I could sense that mas close ka sa iyaha. What is that? What do you want, no? Kanang murag pinaka gusto jud nimo iingon sa iyaha, or naingon na ba nimo siya tanan nga kanang gusto nimo balik-balikon? What message do you want to keep on telling her? Especially knowing wala siya karon diri, no? But I know she would hear this, she would watch this. If she is in front of you, talking to you, what message would you like her to know at this very moment?
Siguro, sir, na one thing siguro na isa sa mga kung gusto ko na ibalik-balik is to realize that salamat kaayo sa padako sa kuha na to the point na you've raised me to become a good son, and at the same time na you accepted me no matter kung sa ko ka badlongon, and at the same time for what I am right now, because it's hard to sometimes makaingon mangud ko na there are different types of parents, but I'm thankful na I have a mother like you who was willing to accept me whole, and wala ko nimo gi wala ko nimo gi takwil or some way where other parents would do to their sons. And I am thankful for always na you were my mother and that you've gave birth to this world to me.
That was a very sentimental message, no? It's okay to cry. Di ba, always ako ginaingan sa inyo ha before. Crying is not a symbol of weakness or defeat, but it's an expression of what you really feel inside you, that only tears could tell. Thank you so much, Bri. How about a message to your father?
One message that salamat kaayo pam na although I am your son, you expect a lot of things for me and probably you expect me to build my own family, but despite coming out to you as who I am, I'm thankful that you fully accepted me and that you're no other typical you're a different type of father, which I'm very thankful for because you never I know you like basketball and I know that you'd like for me to learn basketball, but you've never forced me to learn basketball or to be that type of guy. And one or thing or the other is that you accepted me as for who I am. So I'm so thankful that you and mom are my parents who gave birth, who made me who I am today. And thankful lang kayo.
Thank you so much. Now, I would also ask you about your sister. I know you are a protective brother. I experienced that firsthand. Would you like to give her a message?
Uh, Ding, thankful ko kayo na you were my sister. Although that it's only two of us and I've never imagined having the type of sister that as you are na who is sometimes makalagot but you know makalagot at hindi makaigso na
Normal na dyan na
makalagot
maigsuon niya,
verbal
mga
na
manghod.
makalagot pero maingon ka na without them your life would be boring, no?
Yeah.
Without you, without my sister, having my sister around, maingon jud ko na my life is different. My life is boring because my sister, although sometimes makalagot sila, no, pero times you miss that feeling when they're not around because you've grown, kauban magud nimo sila na grow up and then you did a lot of things together and no matter how sometimes na nasa ibuhat sa imo but when in times of problems na mga manakit sila ha maabot sa timuhang figure, brother figure na ilaban sila no matter what, despite of the horrible experience that you've been through together. Because a brother is always a brother, and then that siblings are always siblings no matter what, and they will be there for each other. And I want to say this to my sisters that I will be here no matter what in times of problems. In the darkest moment of your life, I will be here no matter
Um,
what, to hear your problems and to support you.
Thank you so much. Sweet message from a brother. Now, thank you so much, Bri. And I know you would not expect this, but I would just like to ask this. Lastly, um, unsang message ang imuhang gusto iingon sa katong tao nga uh, nakauban mo to dream, together will help you to find the courage within, um, the person who allowed you to try something that maybe you are afraid to try when you were still a child, but because of that person, you're able to free yourself from the chains of um, that thing. Would you mind to give a message if he can watch this conversation?
Siguro, sir, this person has always been, will always have a special place in my heart no matter what. Although that we didn't end up in a good way, but I still want to let you I still wanted to let you know that in times of troubles, in times of na may mga problema, I was still here to be to listen and be there for you. And I'm so thankful that although that I wanted for us, some part of me wanted for us to be the end, you know, you where I wanted to spend a lifetime with you, but I know that God has better plans for us, and as of now, I know for in fact that you're happy, and I am thankful for God that He has put you in a better place. And I just want to thank you again that even for the even in the biggest part of my life where I finally decided to become free, I was thankful that you were always there for me no matter what, and that you've come to support me. And even now, you still supported me through my decisions that I've made in life. So I'm just so thankful, and that I hope that as of now, you're happy, and that maybe in the future, we'll see each other again.
In the future, no? Thank you, Bri. Last question to end this, to really end this. To end this. Para po sa to ang mga kuan, sa to ang mga listeners, is Brian Tuong single or in a relationship as of today?
Single.
And ready to
Mingle.
Charla.
Okay. Focus lang sa school, sir. Pero kung na may maabot, then why
You're
not?
open.
Yeah, I'm open.
Do you still love that person? Yes or no?
I, siguro, sir, dili maguro na mawala sa tong part no na
Ah.
because syempre you spend time together, you know. And siguro dili,
Can I say that mo tong dili pa siguro ka, wala pa, single pa ka karon, it's because some part of you is still there.
siguro, sir.
Because you said you're still hoping. Naminaw just
Siguro,
kaya ko
I
sa
hope na makita ang good for
makita.
for reconnection or so, but siguro
Magkita as a friend. Kabalo man siguro ka sa mga memes karon din sa Philippines, no?
oh,
Okay, din ako magkuan dara kay kabalo na ko basig nahatay masagasaan nga ko ano basig. Nano pa ka uya bro, sige lang din nata mag-discuss ana. Okay, Bright, thank you so much, no. I too have learned so much from you this morning. Thank you so much for accepting our kanang favor. And before we end, would basi gusto lang ka, I know ga-contact jud ka sila, basi gusto lang ka mo greet sa mga madlang people diri sa kuan, sa GLAN, sa Region 12, sa Philippines, you know.
I would like to greet my family, my lola, my lolo, and my aunts and uncles in the Philippines. I miss you guys so much, and hopefully, no, makauwi ko pohon, and to see you guys. And shout out also to my friends, sila Rhea, Claire, LJ, Lucky, Jassel, sila LA, sila Khalil, sila Gaylord. Hopefully, no, magkita punta dila sa Pinas, and I'm excited to see all of you guys. And see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Bri. Dapat mo uli jud ka soon. because it's more fun in the Philippines.
Ganito po po yung hopefully
Yes.
makauli.
Thank you so much, Bri. Thank you, mga kaigsunan. Salamat kaayo sa iyong pakiguban na usab kanamo sulod sa isa ka oras. Daghan kitag nakatunan karon, especially sa lessons kay gihatag ni Bri sa tua. Una, kinahanglan natong mangandoy kanunay ug paningkamutan nga maabot nato kanang pangandoy, dili kita magtinapol tungod kay magpuyo lamang kita kung unsa ta, kung padayon lang tag maglingkod og dili nato trabahoan atong gusto sa kinabuhi. Secondly, no pressure ang kinabuhi, kinahanglan nimo kanang mag-believe lang sa imuhang kaugalingon, no, especially sa itong mga ginikanan nga unta dili i-pressure ang mga anak nga ing ani dapat. And third, always choose yourself, no, your happiness, your peace, imuhang kaugalingon kung unsa ka, kung unsa man ang imong mga choices sa kinabuhi, as long as you don't hurt anybody, you don't use yourself to destroy somebody, to hurt anybody. Just always choose yourself. And fourth, be free. So no, mga kaigsunan, be free, and always remember nga ang Ginoo sa kanunay anaa gayud sa atong kiliran sa naman tay problema or sa wala, because God is always just beside us no matter what happen. Mao nang ayaw gayud kalimot ug tawag kaniya, pangamuyo kaniya. Prayer is always the key. Daghan kayong salamat. Mao gihapon kini ang iyong programang Love JL. Salamin sa kagahapon, larawan sa kinabuhi. Daghan kayong salamat, Diocese of Marbel. God bless everyone.